kill me.
Hello everybody, Martial Arts Film Freak here, and this is big. I got an interview, first interview on this channel, and hopefully not the last, but for the first, I am talking to Andy Lee from Martial Club, one of my absolute favorite YouTube channels. Amazing short films, amazing training videos. He's of course done stunts and several things. He was just this year recently in Paper Tigers, but now he is Death Dealer in Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, a movie that I'm sure you have seen by now if you are a Marvel fan and a Kung Fu fan. And if you haven't seen it, well, I'm pretty sure you're going to. I am so excited for this. I love Andy. I love his work. Let's just get straight into it. Let's get right into the interview. Here is Andy Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, the great, the awesome Andy Lee.
Hey, what's up? Martial Arts Film Freak. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me, man. So how's the schedule been? How crazy it's been?
It's been crazy, man. Just doing a lot of interviews, a lot of promotions, starting to do comic book signings also. I never thought
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I never thought I'd be doing that, but we're just getting started with that. So schedules packing up even more and more as we go.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see where it goes, but right now it's just been busy.
How much has it been? Like a lot of the same questions?
Yeah, a lot of the same questions. So by now I think initially I started these interviews like very nervous, but then now I think I got them all.
Right,
I got them all down. Yeah.
Are you keeping like time in the schedule for training, or is it just right now this is what you got to do and then get back to training?
No, it's always keep schedule for training because martial arts is first and foremost, no matter how far we go. And I think, and at least even for my mental sanity, like that, doing martial arts training is like a staple for me. So that's something I definitely need.
It's just part of your life, and you need it to stay there.
Yep, it's part of my life. It is my life.
Right. You guys, you and Brian have been training like since you were kids, all self-taught. Like I know you visited like Shaolin Temple and stuff like that, but like with the things you do, what does like the early days, what is starting off that look like?
Starting off with training?
Yeah, like the things you guys do, like how did that start? What's the intro drills y'all did?
Okay, so well, funny story, because I'd say my martial arts training, it's not, I wouldn't say it's grounded in a formal training. I feel like our martial arts training started when we were kids and we started developing an eye watching martial arts movies. So for us, like martial arts movies were our staple growing up, and that's how we learned for the most part. We just watched Hong Kong movies. We watched Jackie, watched Jet Li, Donnie Yen, Bruce Lee. We just copy their moves. And as we grow older, we started growing interest in the acrobatic stuff. So in our sport, we call it martial arts tricking. So it's pretty much an acrobatic blend of martial arts and gymnastics. And then you incorporate breakdancing and capoeira, and that's like kind of also become like a big part of our martial arts style. And just starting that, like we were growing up, we couldn't afford like open gyms or gymnastics lessons. We learned like throwing backflips at the park or in our backyard. And I remember specifically one day, like we found a mattress, like a dirty mattress behind a dumpster, and we just dragged that home, and we were just practicing learning backflips on a mattress. And so it's a pretty ghetto way of learning, but I think it helped in the sense that since we were for the most part self-taught, we learned to develop an eye where we could watch like martial arts films and kind of be able to copy a lot easier. It's something that's innate. Like we can watch like a Jackie Chan fight. Maybe we'll watch like 20 beats, 30 beat like sequence. We may not be able to remember the sequence kick for kick, punch for punch, but we'll remember the rhythm, the pattern, and innately like the effect that it had on us, and like the impact that specific shot or that sequence had on us. And we'll be able to kind of copy it and make our own version of it. And I think that's the beauty of it, of being majority self-taught. And it's taken us a long way.
I get that. I get that being able to just watch something and understanding and figuring out the choreography of it. But
Yeah,
to a much lesser degree, my brother and I would like watch Star Wars and then be like, let's go outside and do that. And
yeah, yeah,
we would just reenact the choreography that we just saw.
yeah. I mean, of course, there are times when we would we'll practice, we'll watch them beat for beat, and then we'll try to copy. But for the most part, as long as I feel like we can get the and this is something we do in our short films. You'll notice it a lot. We don't sometimes we won't copy the choreography completely, but we'll like
Mm.
we'll kind of take the essence of it and then
Right.
recreate our own version.
Yeah, I get that. I
And
definitely I see something in that with like with your Fist of Fury one. I get that.
yeah, that's how that's how we learned. And I think, and that's not to discredit. I've done some formal training with my friends. Like I have
Mm.
friends who because I still like I feel need to give them credit. I have friends who've taught me like they run classes and they're coaches. Sometimes I'll jump in with them, and I've learned some formal training from that. But from the most part, it's been pretty much self taught, and I think that's kind of our staple, and that's kind of taken us a long way.
Mm. I mean, it's clearly gotten you a really long way. I mean, I read that Brad Allen essentially came to you guys, you know, the late
Yes.
Brad Allen came to you guys for this movie. Initially, I suppose wanting you guys to like run stunts on it. And like, so I mean, having him come to you is one thing, but
Mhm.
I read this thing from Edgar Wright, who was sort of just gossiping out about how much he loved Brad Allen, and he did the choreography for like what was it, Scott Pilgrim versus the World,
Yeah. Yes.
and he said that Michael Cera would feel like $1 million whenever Brad would say good job. So like, does that carry over to you? Like, not only him like coming to you guys, but like, was there like some sort of just essence he would give off, knowing that you just nailed something in front of Brad Allen or Andy Chang?
Yeah, like Brad is he's till this day like, and by the way, rest in peace. I wanted to give my condolences to his family and anyone who he's positively impacted in his life. Um, like till this day, like after recently working with him, he remains mysterious, man. Like he keeps
Mm.
like he's he's very like you look up to him from like we're all fans of the Jackie Chan stunt team. We know how good he is. Like in my opinion, he's one of the best. We all look up to him, and he keeps this mysteriousness over him that was like it's hard. Like you can't really get close to him like that, and he'll stay behind the scenes, and whenever you do a good job, he'll finally step out and be like, good job, and that's when you're like, oh wow. Like, so I understand what you're saying, everything you're saying. um Even the first time meeting him, like he doesn't so how he reached out to me was through Facebook, and it was the username was Brad Allen, and the profile picture was like one of those empty profile pictures that
Mm.
it's like it's like you don't have a photo, so like how are you even real,
Mm.
and
Right.
he's like, yeah, I'm looking for Andy Lee, like I saw you guys on YouTube and I wanted to reach out to you guys about an opportunity. And so we're like, oh, okay. And then so then he's like, would you be in, I would be in Orange County in Anaheim. I think he was taking his family to visit, to see Disneyland, to go to Disneyland, and Disneyland right down the street from me. So he just happened to be in my area and we met up. And so when we first met, I was just like, I don't even know if this guy's real, but I'm just gonna take my chances with it, because
Right.
if I didn't, I'd regret it. So I took my chances with it, and then I met him and I see him, and you know, at first I didn't recognize him. He had a hat, sunglasses, and facial hair, so he was like covered up. Later, when I met him in the restaurant, he took off his hat and his sunglasses, and I'm like, oh snap, I can tell from this it is him, because he had like a mohawk, he had like a mohawk, which I never like I didn't see him have in any of the Jackie stuff. So then I was
Mm.
like, I covered his facial hair, I was just looking at his eyes, I'm like, yeah, that's him. Oh snap. And I freaked out. And yeah, until this day, like I still remain just as nervous being around him. And I honestly like his he carries this energy that's just like you got to straighten up around him.
Mm. What do you think that him and Andy Chang brought from the Jackie Chan stunt team to this?
Well, I mean, I don't have to speak much on that, as you can already see in the trailer, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to see it this weekend. Are you going to go see it this weekend?
Yeah, I'm seeing it tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, me and my group are seeing it tonight. But as you guys can already see in the trailer, they're bringing back a bit of the Hong Kong flair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm not going to spoil the movie, but I'm just going to say that each fight has its own, is like a banger in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So like each fight, so like the bus fight, as you already saw a snippet of it, I'll just talk on it, speak on that. The bus fight harkens back to a bit of Jackie, it has a bit of that Jackie flavor. And then you got another fight, and which harkens back to something else. And then you got the big Marvel fight. And so each fight in itself is like its own banger. And I think Brad and Andy really like brought that Hong Kong flair back into the brought the Hong Kong flair back onto the table. But I think because Brad always, he has this knack to, he has this creative, how do I say it? Creative like craving he needs to satisfy. I always noticed he always wanted to push the envelope with a lot of things. So for him, like bringing back completely a Jackie style is not enough. He wants to like elevate it or do something different with it, you know, so something that hasn't been done before. And that's where that's what I see that's different about Brad and a lot of, you know, second unit directors and stunt coordinators. Try to he would take chances with undiscovered talent. He would always seek out like the people who are really talented, like, you know, the people on Instagram, on social media, doing all the crazy stuff. He'll seek them out and he would give them chances and give them opportunity. And that's for myself included, because prior to this, I was just, as you know, like I was just doing YouTube, making my short films. And, you know, for us, that was for the Marshall Club. That's like, that was a platform for us to kind of show the world who we are and what we can do and what we're about and what our mission is. And I think, you know, he saw that in us and he pulled me out, you know, and he's like, I want to give you this chance. And so that's for the most part how Brad discovered me.
Well, I know that y'all also have Michelle Yeoh in this movie, and
Yes.
I know this isn't your first time working with her, and I know you probably can't speak much on the film y'all have already made together.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, sorry. So what was I even saying? Yes, I know that she has pretty much kind of taken you and Brian like under her wing. What are some of like the lessons that she's given y'all so far?
Um, Not much. I think she really is encouraging of what we're doing. And I think for the most part, she's just telling us, keep doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, she's seen what we do and she's been there. She's experienced it. And when she sees me on set, like, you know, all fired up, she's like, yo, I've been there. I see a lot of my earlier self in you. And a lot of the Hong Kong guys I came up with, I see a lot of that in you. And she's like, you're doing the right thing. Just keep going at it. Yeah. And for the film we did prior, it was I mean, I'll just speak on what I can say. It's an A24 film. So as you know, like A24, they're not your conventional, film production. They make really unique films. And so the film we worked on with her is a very wacky, unique A24 film. And I think when the directors, the Daniels, we call them the Daniels because there's Daniel Kwan and Daniel Shiner, two directors. They found us on YouTube, same way Brad did. And they told, we sat down with them and they're like, yeah, we want you guys to help, action choreograph like our movie. And a lot of the martial arts style, we wanted to harken back to the Hong Kong style. We searched around, not a lot of people can do it like you guys can. You guys really capture the essence. And we're going to try to get Michelle Yeoh on it. And this was like in early stages. And, we didn't think much of it until one day, like we started doing the rehearsals. And one day she actually walks into the rehearsal room and we're just like, oh God, this is the Kung Fu heroine, she's the queen.
Right.
So, and I think with us, like, she knows, like, we're not your conventional stunt guys or your conventional actors. We came from YouTube and we're very, our style and our beliefs and our mission and our philosophies are very unique. And we've been very genuine with it. And I think she sees that and she she endears that, and she finds that very endearing. And I think, you know, she that's what had her like take a liking to us. And so 2 years, I mean, 1 year, two films together back to back. We spent practically a year together. So, and
Mhm.
I'd say at this point, like when I see her or when I talk to her, I'm still pretty like just as starstruck as the first time.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like, it's been kind of like a mentorship at this point.
I completely see what she means by saying like just keep doing what you're doing, because I mean there's a reason people are noticing you guys on YouTube. And I mean, like me as a fan, like seeing you guys do anything outside of YouTube, I get hyped. Like I turn into the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of him like pointing at the TV, like seeing Brian do stunts in Into the Badlands, like you guys essentially making like a fake Shaw Brothers movie in the Wu Tang TV show, like
Ah,
all that stuff. Especially like you guys, of course, having a pretty decent sized role in like Paper Tigers, like all that stuff. I just was like so high. I get hyped every time I see you guys on anything.
yeah,
I'm
I
like,
appreciate it,
yes.
man. I appreciate
So
it. I
no, I
think
mean, you deserve it.
yeah, thank you, man. I think the narrative that's been that I guess the more of these interviews I do, I guess the narrative that's coming across to a lot of people has been like, yo, these guys came from YouTube and they're
Mhm.
coming up. And you know, I just this is just, and even like landing a role on like a Marvel film, like I still have to write, like we're still reminding ourselves like, yo, this is just the beginning. Like don't slip now. Like don't, you know, you can't let it get to your head, you know, like this is like we haven't got to tell the world, show the world what we want to do, let show the world what we can do to our full max capacity, and we didn't get to tell the world what we want to say yet. So this is just the beginning. And you know, all of these, starting with the little roles on, you know, on Badlands, on Stunts, Wu-Tang role, Paper Tigers, Shang Chi, it's all stepping stones right now.
Right. I mean, I know I read in your interview with POC culture, and like you said at the beginning of this, it's martial arts first. How does how do you feel like the Marvel movies have always sort of incorporated something of martial arts into it, especially in like Winter Soldier and stuff like that? How do you feel with Marvel just diving headfirst and just going full martial arts?
I think I was pretty, because this conversation I had with Brad the very first day I sat down with him. That was actually the very first thing we talked about. When I first sat down with Brad, he was like, "Hey, you, so I'm working on this Marvel film, and I see you guys on YouTube, and I really want to bring, you know, your talent in and your style." And you know, eventually, he was talking about how it's an Asian superhero. At this point,
Mhm.
like the word about a Shang-Chi being made had already gotten out. So I was like, and I was, are we doing a Shang? Is it Shang-Chi? He's like, yeah. Um, and this time they came to like, you know, the Jackie Chan stunt team, Brad Allen stunt team, that circle to, you know, their due diligence for the action. They wanted a, and he said, so my idea is we're gonna do, we want to do it more like a, bring back the old school Hong Kong like martial arts flavor. And me and Brad were just talking about like, yo, if we do this, like we could bring it back into the industry. We could bring like martial arts um, back. And so this has been a conversation that's been in talks for me over 2 years.
Mhm.
And to see to see it actually playing out, and to see like how much the trailers have been hyping everyone up, and all like the pre, you know, release screenings, and everyone like the reviews so far, it's like kind of like, yo, like this is good for us, you know. This
Mhm.
has always been a part of our mission. Like we wanted the martial club missions, promote the virtues and ethics of martial arts through film. And we want to put martial arts back on the map, you know, through in this film industry. And it's happening. And I do gotta um, give credit to also the I'm grateful for the Asian movement, because I feel like if it weren't
Mhm.
for the Asian movement, opportunities wouldn't be coming to Martial Club, you know, for me and my teams so easily. It would be hard to be getting our foot in the door.
Right. So Simu, I know, has a background in tricking. When Simu was cast, I just immediately started finding anything I could on his like action past and found his tricking videos. With that being his background, what did you guys have to work on with him? Because I know you guys helped train him a bit.
Yeah. So initially we started. Brad started me off. me and Brian and one of our friends, one of our teammates, DY Sao. I don't know if you know him. He's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
great martial artist. And in my opinion, DY Sao is one of the best on-screen martial arts film fighters. He like I just had to say that because I don't feel like he gets enough credit. But me, Brian, and my friend and my teammate DY, we started off as Simu's coaches. Simu came out to LA for some training, and he had 2 weeks. I think it was like 2 months, where every day, me, Brian, DY, we would wake up 5 a.m., drive all the way out to the valley, and train with him 4 hours a day. And he definitely, as you can tell by his build, he's already very athletic. He had a tricking background that definitely helped. And I think he would agree with me that his biggest problem was flexibility. So, and I believe he even said this on a talk show recently that you can tell the expertise of a martial artist by how flexible they are, by their splits. And for him, he was already very athletic. That helped, but he couldn't stretch. So every day had been like really deep stretching for him. And he would always come in sore the next day, like, dude, all right, we're doing this again. Okay. So what's funny is it started off as I started off as Simu's martial arts coach initially. And later when the role for Death Dealer opened up, this is after I told Brad, like, if I want to move forward, like I told Brad, like, I was straight up with Brad. Like my goal is to become the next martial arts like action superstar. Like, and we want to put martial arts back on the map. And if there's a role that opens up anywhere, like he said he would keep an eye out for me. So when that role of Death Dealer came about, it just felt like it was tailored for me. It was this ninja character, Brad was like, your martial arts style is very ninja-esque, like, it just works for you. And mind you, I didn't have to audition for that role. I just got it. And how funny was it that when I got the role, it was, I mean, you saw in the trailer, Death Dealer plays Simu's coach.
Right.
So that chemistry also played out. And, the 2 months of training together definitely helped build that chemistry for our showdown that you'll see in the film.
Right. I'm beyond hyped to see Simu just absolutely tear it up.
Yep.
So I've seen on Instagram, you have been very hyped about this signature kick that you're excited to get in here. What does it mean to you, I guess, to pull off the first, like, what is it? You called it the full twist side kick. What does it mean to you that pull that off in film?
I always wanted to, I mean, like Brad and us here over here at Martial Club, we have this philosophy with film that we believe in paying homage and respects to like the veterans who came before us, but we also believe that we have to put our own flavor in, and the new generation has to elevate it. So the way I see it is, you got Jackie, Samuel, and all these veterans, they laid it down on film for us. They were the textbook for us. Like their movies were like the Bibles for us. We studied them and we learned them. Now that we learned them, we want to pay homage to them. At the same time, we have to bring in what's new. And what's new for us, Martial Club, a lot of us are really, fairly decent trickers, so martial arts tricking, just one of many aspects that we can implement into the future of martial arts and martial arts action. So for us at the time, like we were, when we were choreographing, I would just find spots where I could find something to elevate in. And so when in the beginning, we were like, okay, at this shot here during the rehearsals, this shot would be Death Dealer would do, we'll just call it a super kick for now. And so me and Brian, and we developed this kick, full twist side kick, hasn't been done on film yet. We looked everywhere. We looked at Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa is known actually for, that's where initially we got the inspiration from. Tony Jaa he would do some really groundbreaking stuff. It's like an unbox stuff that hasn't been done before on film. We wanted to, like, if I could get one move in this Marvel movie, like that would make history for me. Like, whether people recognize it or not, for me, it's enough. So, so we developed this full twist side kick. We actually kind of had it in the bag, but like we were I was calling Brian from Australia. I was like, yo, which move should I do here? I get the super kick that Brad wants me to do. on this shot. Like she was talking about it. And then we were just going through our encyclopedia of like moves that we had. And we had to find one that also fit the narrative. And yeah, the one we had in the bag that hasn't been done before was full twist side kick. Because this is stuff we develop in our training when we train as a team. So that's the one that ended up being in the film. But it wasn't the full twist side. It wasn't the move that's the hard part. It's doing the move in that costume. That costume was not so friendly, even as badass as it looks. But let's start with just like the mask. The mask is like, for one, you can't even breathe. If you're gonna move and do like you're gonna move 14 hours a day and just straight fighting and cardio all day, your muscles are gonna need oxygen. And where are you gonna get your oxygen from? From your breathing, right? And so if you can't breathe, so in between takes, take it off, catch your breath, get water, put it back on. And putting back on that mask was not easy. And yeah, so it wasn't the full twist sidekick that was hard. It was doing it in that costume that was hard. And I think like doing it, being able to execute and nailing it the way it did, that the way you saw in the trailer was like, it was, I would say partially skill, also luck, because we were going for like takes on takes. And I kept asking for more takes because I couldn't hit it right away, because doing it in training versus doing it in the costume is different. So I remember it was like, I forgot how many takes in, but we were so many takes in. And Brad is the type that would let you just go take for take for take for take until you get it. Because he's that much of a perfectionist, you know? And he's like, and there was one point where he's like, all right, this is the last take. After this, we got to move on. Because we had one that worked, but it wasn't one that was perfect, you know? And for me, my standard, and I'm sure Brad's standard as well, has to be perfect. That's the only way. And so it was the very last take, and lucky enough, I was able to nail him like square in the jaw, as you saw in the trailer.
Right.
So that was the very last take. And yeah, I was very grateful it came out that way, because at that point I had to muster up the warrior spirit and just be like, all right, if this is the one that counts, like am I willing to die for this shot? Okay, I am willing to die for this shot. If this shot makes it in the film, all right, and I die tomorrow, I'm happy. Let's do it. And so I can't, you know, the warrior spirit, and I just, and for some reason, however, I don't even remember. It was such a blur in that moment, because I was also dehydrated and like I didn't have oxygen in me, but we made it happen, and I'm glad it turned out that way. And what's even crazier to see is that I'm like, this could be a trailer shot.
Oh yeah,
it ended up in the trailer.
Gotta have that trailer shot. I was a little curious about that mask, because like I'm a huge wrestling fan too. And I've heard so many stories from wrestlers who like didn't start out wearing masks, and then whenever like the promoter like puts them in a mask, they're like, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't see. So I imagine fast-paced fight choreography probably a whole lot worse.
Yeah, definitely. And that mask, man, like that mask is already like, I feel like that mask has that iconic factor where it's like it's like it belongs in a horror movie. And I get even like, that's already, the mask itself is already scary, but I'm even more scared when I look at it, because I'm just reminded of all the action I had to do in it.
You got some trauma with it.
Yeah, I got a bit of trauma with that mask.
I've got one last question here. I know you got a little bit left, and I hate to put you on the hot seat here, but if you had to figure out a lineup, a short list, maybe 3 to 5 movies that you would give to somebody to introduce them and you know, to help them figure out the essence of what is Martial Club, what 3 to 5 movies do you think that would be?
Okay, 3 to 5 movies of Martial Club. Well, okay, 3 to 5 movies of Martial Club would probably reflect the same 3 to 5 movies of me, of what my favorite 3 to 5 movies are. So, very first, okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. So, okay, in no particular order, but these are my top 5, and I have different reasons for all of them. So first would be Martial Club, the movie.
Right.
Because of the whole, the movie Martial Club, and why we made our name after Martial Club, the movie, is that movie carries a lot of virtues and ethics of martial arts. Like the beyond like just the action of it, there's like philosophy and culture in martial arts. If you want like a very good crash course on that, that's going to be Martial Club the movie. I believe that Martial Club the movie represents that strongest. Next would be Drunken Master 2. For me, for one, I love Jackie. And two, I think he was at the peak of his innovation with Drunken Master 2. I think him doing kung fu and just his whole innovation, I think it stands out and it's something different. And for me, it's groundbreaking in its own way. And that leads me to my third one, the Ong Bak, because purely for the groundbreaking aspect. Tony Jaa, if you want to see like physicality, that's Ong Bak. Ong Bak, like Tony Jaa was doing stuff that was never before done on film. And I'm pretty sure the first person to do this stuff ever. And he has such good control and such great physicality. And you can tell like he's a great martial artist and an acrobat. And he's really mastered like his body. So I think Ong Bak, just to see the limits of the human body, that's Ong Bak. And Iron Monkey, I like Iron Monkey because it captured like the wuxia element with the flying wires, but it didn't rely so much on that. It also had like the whole the traditional Southern style, the tiger and the crane. And in that way, it stands out from all the wuxia movies. And it also, Iron Monkey also had a good story. I know martial arts movies generally are known for their action and like their stories, whatever. I believe Iron Monkey has a good story also. So that's why I would put Iron Monkey up there. And the last one would be 36 Chamber of Shaolin. 36 Chamber of Shaolin, because it really paints the journey of a martial artist, what the martial artist has to go through. Of course, it's your how do you say it? Your generic Shaolin revenge story, but at the same time, you see someone come from a zero to hero. You someone who had no skill in martial arts, and he has to develop it from scratch. He goes into the Shaolin Temple. The whole second act, going into the third act of 36 Chamber of Shaolin, is training. He's just training, and that's what I really like about that film. It's like a training reel. And I think more people need to see that and to understand like martial arts isn't easy. It's like it's to understand the hardship and like the perseverance it takes to become a martial arts master. And that's also, and I noticed this in a lot of Shaw Brothers movies, in Martial Club as well. Martial Club, the movie, you see someone come from an immature, younger martial artist to a master, and you see that at the end. Same with 36 Chamber. You see someone who comes from someone who knows no martial arts. He comes from zero to becoming, an enlightened martial artist. And I think more movies need to do that nowadays. That's like the type of storytelling that I like. And I feel like that type of story is lost in today. That's why we started Martial Club. It's our goal to bring that back, not just the action element, but like the story and the narrative behind it.
Those are definitely that's an epic lineup. I would, if somebody put that lineup in front of me, I would definitely not leave the theater.
The 5 movies. Oh yeah.
Those
5 movies are all bangers, but all bangers in their own way.
Right. That's wonderful choices. If anybody watching this is not for some reason subscribe to Martial Club, please go do that. Andy, thank you so much for your time. I don't want to take up any more. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. It is an absolute honor to just be a Martial Club fan. It's an honor to get to talk to you today. Thank you so much.
It's an honor to talk to you, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, man. I don't want to take up any more time, man. You're good to go.
No worries. Thank you. See you soon.
You have a good one, man.
Bye.
So that was my discussion with Andy Lee. What did you think about that? The things we discussed. Brad Allen, Michelle Yeoh, Simu Liu, martial arts, his early days doing flips on mattresses. Of course, go follow Martial Club on YouTube. Go subscribe to that channel if you are not. If you are subscribed to my channel, I imagine you are already subscribed to Martial Club. Of course, official Martial Club, I believe, is Andy's Instagram. There is, of course, Brian, DMod, DY, and Joseph Lee on Instagram as well. I will leave all of their links Down in the description, there will also be the link over to the Martial Club YouTube channel. Go follow all them, subscribe, do all that stuff. Of course, Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page on Facebook, Martial Arts Film Freak on Instagram, Tristan_Glover on the Twitter, and Martial Arts Film Freak on TikTok. It's been a pretty good day, pretty cool day. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.